On my 30th birthday, my daughter and I appeared on a baby-raising show in the entertainment industry. The show was extremely popular and was called Star Baby. It was different from other parent-child shows in that it focused on celebrities raising their children, but the backgrounds and relationships of the children of each pair of parents were varied. And I, as a black and red male star in the entertainment industry, also became a member of the show. But the most special thing happened when my daughter and I appeared on stage. I was asked by the program crew to do one thing in front of the camera, ask the queen of the screen to marry me and be a mother to my daughter. The production team arranged for us to participate in the variety show, hoping to stir up the audience's emotions in this way. When the production team came to pick us up, my daughter called me by the bed in a tone that was meant to be used to sleep in. "Hey, you lazy sir, the production team is here. Let the bed let go of you, the noble one." I didn't even open my eyes at the time and answered dazedly, "No, Dad is too noble and must sleep a little longer. Go help Mom pack her things first." Who is a good person who asks his child to pack up? I said this sick thing in one breath, which made the program crew and the audience on the internet burst into laughter. The interaction between my daughter and I is a complete plot reversal. One is a lazy father, and the other is a daughter who is too smart. When the recording just started, the camera was pointed at us, and when the program crew saw my lazy appearance, they couldn't help laughing. I yawned casually, sat up, and saw that the camera was turned on and the live broadcast had begun. Haha, Fong Yuan's way of staying in bed is so realistic, just like me who goes to bed early. The audience couldn't help laughing at the daughter's naive look. One audience member couldn't help but joked. Fong Yuan actually asked his child to pack up his things? Can a man like this be a father? On the other side, the daughter's face was full of speechless. I knew that everyone's interest had already been completely attracted by the interaction between my daughter and me. It all seemed nonsensical, but it was full of warmth and humor. My daughter simply wanted to change her mother, and the appearance of the movie Queen Jessica just happened to be the goal of her dream. Next, the program team began to interview my daughter and me. The PD asked me and my daughter curiously, "What's your daughter's name?" I smiled and replied, "Just call her Gaia." "Gaia? Ultraman." The PD who was following the camera was stunned. I saw my daughter rolled her eyes at me and said speechlessly, "Dad just thought that boys like Ultraman Gaia, so he gave me this name." I rubbed her furry head and said with a smile, "Believe me, Dad, there's really no boy who doesn't like Gaia." The daughter clearly had a forget-it expression on her face. "I don't believe what you said. It's just a fart plug anyway." The audience burst into laughter and typed and commented, "Gaia, haha." I laughed so hard. Fong Yuan really just wants boys to like his daughter. Is there anything wrong with that? I said helplessly. However, the atmosphere in the entire live broadcast room had already been completely driven by the humorous atmosphere between us father and daughter. My daughter's name is really funny, and the staff of the program didn't expect that the interaction between us father and daughter would be so funny. Everyone couldn't help laughing when watching our conversation. The next interview question was even more interesting. The PD adjusted the camera angle and asked the daughter again, "Where is your mother? Don't mention her. I get angry when you mention her." The daughter responded with a stern face. She obviously didn't like her mother very much. I have always kept silent about the speculations from the outside world. Although I have always had good resources in the entertainment industry, my marital status has always been a mystery. Fans, haters, and even colleagues in the industry are all curious about my personal life, especially who is my wife. I was at the height of my career when my daughter's mother married me. I married her for the simple reason that it was a drunken mistake, yet she bore me a daughter, and we remained somewhat distant. I raised my daughter mostly on my own. This secret marriage has never been exposed, and no one knows the truth to this day. For some reasons, the daughter has long been accustomed to not mentioning her mother. The program crew obviously hoped to uncover the mystery of my wife's identity through my daughter, but unfortunately, their plan failed. When we arrived at the shooting location, a group of guests had already arrived. It was none other than the popular actress Jessica. The moment my daughter saw her, her eyes sparkled with stars. She rushed over and stared at her with admiration. She said happily, I know you are a movie queen. Jessica looked at me, then looked at her daughter and smiled. Then how did you know me? I was about to stop Gaia, but she said bluntly, because I want you to be my mother. At this moment, I was a little amused. My daughter had always said she wanted to change her mother, and she said she had watched for a long time and felt that the actress was the most suitable to be her mother, and even suitable to be my wife. I felt mixed emotions for a while. It would be fine if I said it myself, but now she said it so directly in front of Jessica. The program team's live broadcast room suddenly became lively. What did I hear? Gaia wants the movie queen to be her mother. The audience began to scroll through the screen and laughed. Ha ha ha! How can this kid be so funny, so cute? Gaia, have you really asked your mom for her opinion? Oh my god, how can Gaia be so direct? Jessica was even more stunned by her daughter's next words. She grabbed Jessica's arm without hesitation and turned to look at me. Dad, she has a good figure and is pretty. Why don't you consider letting her be my mother? I was stunned. I never expected my daughter to be so direct and even use this method to recommend Jessica. Gaia, take your hands off the actress. I panicked and shouted. Jessica obviously didn't expect to be touched by her ex-boyfriend's daughter. Then Jessica smiled and said, I can be your mother, but your father must agree. Her tone was very relaxed, but it made me a little confused, and I had a complicated feeling in my heart. Dad, please marry the movie queen. I want her to be my mother, the daughter continued bluntly. I was confused and quickly responded, No, girl, have you asked your biological mother for her opinion on changing your mother? This is forcing your father to cheat on your mother. My daughter said seriously, Dad, I'm not kidding. Look, she's pretty and has a good figure. Although she's not as good as my biological mother, you've been watching her for several years and you're tired of her. You can kill two birds with one stone by changing your wife and mother. She looked at me and raised her eyebrows. Is that right? These words really made me feel helpless, but I wanted to laugh in my heart. The program crew also started to panic at this time, and the audience in the live broadcast room laughed one after another. Ha, Fang Yuan, who are you married to? Really, no one knows. The audience laughed and posted comments. My daughter's idea is so bold. I didn't expect that she would dare to say such a thing so loudly in front of the camera. She is so young, but she dares to challenge social norms. I love her, but feel helpless at the same time. The segments arranged by the program team followed one after another, and then we entered the next activity, quick answer questions. This part is mainly to see who can answer the most questions correctly within the specified time. The winner can get 20 ingredients and seasonings. The second place can get 15, and the third place can only get 10 ingredients and 5 seasonings. At the beginning of the competition, the program team gave out a small loudspeaker, and every child and us adults had to answer. The questions were mainly related to cartoons, which tested everyone's memory. The first question, what are the names of the two monkeys in Bald and the Bear? King Ding Mao Mao and Gigi. As soon as I finished answering, I saw my daughter reaching out to press the bell impatiently. The questions that followed became increasingly difficult, and the child stars were all equally competitive. Finally, the most difficult question came up. What is the name of the female pig in Pigman? My daughter's eyes lit up, and she was about to press the bell, but the child star Lucky got there first. However, Lucky was obviously stuck, scratched his head, and finally answered, I think it's Sunny Pig. This answer made me laugh so hard. My daughter immediately said loudly, What's Sunny Pig? It's Princess Fei Fei. She is the favorite sow of my boyfriend, Gigi Leopard. After she said this, the place suddenly became quiet, and everyone was stunned. I couldn't believe what I heard. My daughter looked so fierce and didn't realize how explosive her words were. She is the favorite sow of my male god, Gigi Leopard. I couldn't help but laugh out loud, and the audience in the live broadcast room also burst into laughter, and the barrage of comments was crazy. Ha ha, this kid is so funny. Princess Fei Fei, Gigi Leopard's favorite. The audience in the live broadcast room couldn't stop laughing and started to post ha ha one after another. The daughter looked at everyone innocently. What are you laughing at? My idol, is Gigi Leopard. Princess Fei Fei is really the sow that my idol likes. Ha ha ha. I couldn't hold back any longer and almost got a stitch in my side. My daughter continued to ask fiercely, "What are you laughing at? Am I right?" Finally, the director adjusted his mood, suppressed his laughter, and announced the results. Congratulations to Gaia. He answered 8 questions correctly and successfully won the first place. Lucky and Doris followed closely behind, answering 6 questions correctly respectively. It can be seen that the daughter is not only smart, but also very individual. The audience in the live broadcast room said that they were very amused by this little girl. After that, our room arrangement also came. According to the ranking, we got a room on the 4th floor, Jessica and Lucky were on the 3rd floor, and Mandy and Doris were on the 2nd floor. After a short rest, we started to prepare lunch. My daughter knew that I couldn't cook, so she dragged me to the 3rd floor. Then I realized that she had already arranged for Jessica to cook 2 more meals. I thought my daughter would dislike me, but she actually called me new mom all the time, which left me completely stunned. Dad, Jessica agreed to be my mom. She is my new mom now. My daughter blinked her big black eyes, her childish voice carrying a pure innocence without any scheming. I almost choked and said reflexively, "Whose girl is this? She's changing her father's wife without her mother's knowledge? And the one she's changing is my ex-girlfriend?" This was a completely unnatural operation, and I was a little overwhelmed. At this time, Jessica stood beside me, smiled gently, and looked at me with a gentle gaze. "I agree. There's nothing wrong with being Gaia's mother," she replied calmly, which made me stunned. As soon as these words came out, I felt terrible and the live broadcast room was in an uproar. Jessica is actually Fong Yuan's ex-girlfriend? The comments section exploded. I was just thinking about shipping a movie queen couple, but it turns out these two have a history. I'm actually a little excited. This news is so explosive. Fong Yuan and Jessica have dated before? I feel like shipping them after hearing this news. My daughter didn't seem to notice the popularity of the live broadcast room and continued to ask me naively, "Dad, is mom actually your ex-girlfriend?" I almost vomited blood when I heard this question. I stood up and blurted out, "There's no such possibility. Eat quickly. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll take away your snacks and you won't be able to watch TV." But I was thinking in my heart, this little girl is really not afraid of death. She actually dared to mention her biological mother so directly in front of the camera. She really doesn't take her own mother seriously. I quickly walked to the PD and secretly checked the hot searches and found that there was already a title like Fong Yuan's daughter changes mother on the hot search list. My heart sank immediately, knowing that this time I was in trouble and the interaction between my daughter and Jessica suddenly became the headline. At this moment, suddenly the daughter's biological mother, Olivia, really broke into the program crew. We were preparing to go out for a photo shoot and do crafts with the kids. When we returned to the living room, there was a woman sitting on the sofa. She was wearing a high-end dress with a slender figure, a rich-faced beauty, and a gentle and elegant temperament that could not be ignored. She is my daughter's biological mother, Olivia, the head of the Bai Group, a business tycoon with a net worth of hundreds of billions. Her appearance is simply a dazzling presence. When she looked at us, the whole room seemed to be quieted by her aura. I subconsciously looked back at the camera and found that the live camera had been turned off. I felt a little uneasy. Then my daughter asked softly, "What are you doing here?" Olivia's voice was gentle and magnetic, and she spoke slowly. "You're going to ask my husband to replace me, so why can't I come?" The staff of the program were all stunned and guessed her identity instantly, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't expect that she would actually come. "My dearest daughter, is your mother here to show you around?" I felt helpless and turned to look at my daughter. The daughter was indeed a stubborn child. She pulled Jessica to Olivia and said seriously, "This is the new wife I found for your husband, my new mother." Olivia's eyes were slightly cold, as if the cold wind was biting her bones. She sneered at the corner of her mouth, and her tone was oppressive. "Fong Ning, have I never hit you since I was a child?" My daughter was so scared that she ran into my arms. I quickly hugged her and comforted her in a low voice. I won't go since you're so fierce. The daughter didn't dare to face Olivia's anger and muttered softly. Olivia looked at me coldly, and her voice became gentler. Wife, Gaia is still young and doesn't understand. You are too fierce. She is afraid. My heart sank, knowing that this was not a simple situation. Olivia's aura was too strong. She looked at her daughter and finally asked in a low voice, "Why do you want to change your mother?" The daughter did not hide her feelings at all and answered without hesitation. Because you are not a good mother. You only come home a few times a month, and most of the time you're working outside. You are not with me and Dad at all. You are not with me, and I feel that you don't love me. As soon as these words came out, the live broadcast room fell silent. Children's cognition is so simple that they always think that if their mothers are not with them all the time, it means that they don't love them. Olivia was silent for a few seconds and finally spoke. Can you get my consent if you want to change my husband's wife? The daughter tilted her head and blinked. Then can I change it secretly and give you a surprise? I was feeling very nervous standing by, as I was afraid that this kind of surprise would leave all of us at a loss. Olivia looked at her daughter with a hint of tenderness in her eyes. This surprise is too big. You should take it back. My daughter hugged my legs, poked her head out, and asked in a baby voice, "What surprise do you want?" Olivia gently picked up her daughter and said softly, "Mom knows I was wrong. From today on, I will spend more time with you and Dad and be a good mother. Gaia, can you give Mom a chance?" The daughter's tender face showed a little relaxation, lowered her head, and said reluctantly, "Then will you live with Dad?" Olivia nodded and replied with a smile, "Yes, Mom will live with you more often in the future." The daughter turned her head away, with a little awkwardness in her eyes. "Then I will only give you this one chance. You have to seize it. If you miss this opportunity, you will never get it again. By then, we will all leave you, and you will have to hide in your bed and listen to the clock going in the opposite direction." I couldn't help but laugh when I heard this, and thought to myself, this child's little tsundere is so adorable. "Oh, I'm an expert in surfing," the daughter said proudly, raising her little face with a smug look. I couldn't help but smile when I saw the mother and daughter reconciled. In fact, the daughter didn't really hate her mother. She just hoped that her mother could spend more time with her and give her more love, like now. Olivia brought her a small surprise, chocolate. When her daughter saw the chocolate, her eyes lit up and she cheered, "Wow, chocolate! I want to eat it! I want to eat it!" She couldn't wait to run to Olivia and stretched out her little hand to the chocolate. "Mom, help me open it." My daughter was so happy as if she had received a huge reward, and her little face was smiling like a flower. Just when the atmosphere was becoming warm, someone suddenly knocked on the door. I thought it was someone from the show crew, but when I opened the door, I found Jessica standing at the door. "Jessica, is there something wrong?" I couldn't help but frown. Jessica's expression was a little complicated, and she hesitated to speak. Finally, she said softly, "Fong Yuan, does she need my help to explain? The child is still young, don't hit her." I was stunned for a moment, realizing that she had misunderstood something. I quickly shook my head and said, No, Gaia's mother didn't hit Gaia." At this time, Olivia came over with her daughter. While eating chocolate, her daughter said, "Aunt Jessica, don't worry. My mother didn't beat me. It's just that you can't be my new mother. I'm sorry." Jessica's eyes flashed with a hint of loneliness. She lowered her head and said softly, "It's okay. I won't bother you anymore." Then she turned and left. The daughter looked at Olivia and whispered, "Mom, I need to poop. Can you come with me to the bathroom? Stand by and cheer me up." Olivia's eyelids twitched slightly, and she seemed a little embarrassed. "Mom doesn't really want to go," she said slowly. "Forget it. I was just talking casually." The daughter curled her lips, revealing a little disappointment. I couldn't help but laugh out loud beside her. I was obviously teasing Olivia on purpose, but she actually made me feel a little overwhelmed. Olivia looked at me deeply, chuckled, and said, "Your ex-girlfriend still has feelings for you." I was stunned for a moment, feeling a little embarrassed, and quickly explained, "No, Jessica is my first love." We dated for a while in college, but later broke up because of our personality differences. While I was with her, I really didn't have that kind of heart-thumping feeling. Olivia listened quietly, then suddenly moved closer and blinked. But I think you were pregnant. There was an alluring light in her eyes, and at that moment, my heartbeat quickened. Olivia's fox eyes seemed to suck me in, and they touched my heartstrings. I was a little stunned, swallowed, and my heartbeat accelerated. Olivia leaned so close to me, and the corners of her mouth slightly raised. Mr. Fong, can you keep a little distance from her? Just think of it as giving me a little sense of security. Her voice was low and gentle, yet with a hint of coquettishness that made my heart tremble involuntarily. Oomph. She deliberately prolonged the last syllable like a little hook scratching my heart, making it itchy. My heart couldn't help but tremble a few times. Seeing her relying on herself so much, I couldn't help but feel soft-hearted, but then I joked. Are you so unconfident? Then give me some confidence. Olivia smiled, raised her head, stood on tiptoes, and suddenly kissed me on the lips. This kiss made my mind go blank, and the whole world seemed to stop. As she stepped away from me, I felt my breathing gradually return to normal, and a blush unconsciously appeared on my face. The daughter's voice came from the side. TSK, the sisters on the internet are right. The mouth can not only be used for eating, but also for kissing. My face flushed immediately, and I lowered my head, not daring to look at her. No, daughter, don't talk nonsense. Olivia, on the other hand, said calmly without blushing or panting. You are already a mature child. Don't be a light bulb for your parents next time. My daughter suddenly said arrogantly. Are you disgusted with me? Olivia replied, Not really. Do you want to play with me now? The daughter raised her little face. Her expression was so cute. Olivia glanced at her, but did not refuse, and started playing with her daughter. That night, Olivia had someone order a big meal for the entire production team, and no one continued the live broadcast. The production team collected our phones, but I still got one back from them and couldn't help but check the trending searches online. Unexpectedly, the trending searches about me and Jessica had been removed. The popularity of the show Star Baby has soared, and her daughter has also attracted a lot of fans. Her silly and cute performances in the live broadcast were edited into videos and appeared on the homepages of major video platforms. Gaia is so cute, it's unjustifiable. I get annoyed when I see Fong Yuan's face. The villainous supporting actor's performance is so disgusting. The guy above, are you sick? Fong Yuan is just playing a vicious male supporting role. Don't confuse the actor with the role. Gaia is the cutest. I really envy Fong Yuan and want to steal his daughter. These comments made me laugh and cry. Suddenly, I realized that every little move of my daughter can cause a big wave of response. It really makes people love and hate her. Olivia did not leave that night. She and her daughter lay on the bed together and watched the cartoon Pigman. When the theme song started, her daughter immediately sang along, but her voice was not very accurate and she had no musical talent at all, which made Olivia laugh. Other people singing sounds like heavenly music, but your singing is really torturing people. Olivia couldn't help but complain. The daughter immediately pouted and said speechlessly, How presumptuous of you! I couldn't help but laugh and felt that the interaction between mother and daughter was becoming more and more interesting. However, the next day, the program team brought us bad news. They announced that they would ask parents and children to sing a nursery rhyme together as the program's promotional song. I was completely stunned. My daughter is tone deaf. Having inherited my gene for lack of pitch, my singing would probably scare everyone away. I was written all over with rejection written on my head and toes, but my daughter was extremely excited and insisted on singing the song of her idol, with the lyrics full of GG explosion. Dad Gaia, I want to discuss something with you. Can we not sing? How about we both give up? I held my daughter's hand and discussed in a low voice. This is not a game session. You cannot give up. Every group of guests must sing. The director rejected me without hesitation. My heart sank immediately. In the past period of time, except for the vicious male supporting role, I have never had any negative news. As soon as this song is finished, I think the whole network will come and trouble me. I was dragged into the recording studio by my daughter with a face full of resistance. When the audience in the live broadcast room saw my expression, they burst into laughter. Look at Fang Yuan's expression. Why does it feel like he is going to die? Ha ha! Fang Yuan's expression is too funny. Can't he sing? The program team invited a professional teacher to guide us, but after listening to my daughter and I singing, the teacher's expression could only be described as desperate. When my daughter and I finished singing and walked out of the recording studio, the expressions of the sound engineer, sound mixer, and program staff were completely indescribable. I couldn't look at their complex and painful expressions. Dad, did I sing well just now? My daughter looked up at me, her eyes full of anticipation. I smiled bitterly and shook my head. My daughter, you sang very well, but let's record it next time. Let Dad and these uncles and aunts go. When I secretly glanced at the live broadcast screen, the comments were quickly refreshed. Stop singing. Please stop singing. I really beg you. I can't listen to it anymore. Wow, listening to you singing really shortens my life. I was almost scared to death by my own and my daughter's singing. I didn't dare to look at the comments on the live broadcast anymore. I felt like my daughter and I had become the laughing stock of the entire internet. Fortunately, the show has finally come to an end. The production team held a small tea party to announce the successful completion of the first episode of Star Baby. Next, the show will continue to be recorded, and the guest list for the next episode will be announced in a few days. Although the show is over, our promotional music has become a hit online. My face has once again become the focus of the internet, and video tycoons have even made a ghost version of our singing, which has been swiped across major video platforms. It seems that my daughter and I have become an internet legacy that cannot be ignored. As the show ended, my daughter was going to kindergarten. Olivia went to work during the day and came back to spend time with us at night. On weekends, my daughter didn't do her homework and insisted on going out to play. The teacher couldn't do anything about her. One time, I pretended to be angry and said to my daughter, Gaia, if you don't listen to the teacher, I will be angry. When I am angry, I can do anything. The daughter tilted her head and blinked her big eyes. Really? Really? She immediately ran to me and said coquettishly, then make some spicy crayfish, then some grilled fish, and finally some mao su wong. Oh, don't put too much chili in it. I'm a child and can't eat anything too spicy. I almost burst out laughing. I didn't expect this little girl to threaten me with food. Her innocent look was driving me crazy. I couldn't help but sigh helplessly. This naughty child, I think you want to be beaten, right? At this moment, Olivia came in from the door. When she heard what I said, she looked up and saw her daughter's expression immediately softened. She turned to her daughter and said softly, You are so naughty. Dad will not forgive you. I looked at Olivia, then at my daughter, feeling a little unconvinced. Your daughter wants to be beaten again. I told her to study, but she asked me to cook crayfish. My daughter immediately showed an innocent expression. You said you can do anything, so I wanted to try and see if you can do it. She said it so innocently, like a little adult. Olivia looked at her daughter helplessly. Go study. Mom will take you to eat crayfish in the evening. Okay, I'll promise you then. The daughter said it so straightforwardly, as if this matter did not require any further consideration. Why does she listen to you so much? I asked, somewhat puzzled. Olivia responded gently. Is she craving for crayfish? Okay, I want to eat crayfish too. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that my daughter's little request could be met. We'll go eat it tonight. So, our family of 3 went to a restaurant with a very good reputation. When we entered the restaurant, we happened to meet some diners. They recognized us and started taking pictures with their phones. Olivia's identity is indeed special. The public relations team has handled all her privacy and personal information for her and even strictly manage her photos. Olivia's name appears on the internet. The public relations team will quickly deal with the relevant content to prevent leakage. In order to prevent any accidents, Special Assistant Leo, who is beside Olivia, will also be ready to deal with emergencies at any time. At the table, my daughter ordered crayfish, grilled fish, and mao shuang. As expected, her taste is exactly the same as mine. and she likes spicy food. However, Olivia can't handle spicy food very well, so we ordered a few non-spicy dishes to ensure that she can enjoy it too. After the crayfish was served, the daughter ate it happily with a satisfied look on her face. At this time, she suddenly asked, "Dad, the crayfish can't go home. Will his father be worried?" I was stunned for a moment. I didn't expect her to suddenly ask such a kind question. Looking at my daughter's innocent face, I didn't know how to respond. Olivia said calmly, "No, everyone in the family is here. Everyone is with you." The daughter felt relieved after hearing this and nodded. Then I feel relieved. A family should be neat and tidy. This sentence touched my heart. Yes, the meaning of family is to accompany and care for each other. But I seem to have never really understood this. During that time, Olivia basically did not go out. She went to the company during the day and occasionally worked in the study upstairs. Her daughter became more and more dependent on her. The first thing she asked after school every day was, "Is Mom home?" One day, after my daughter went to school, I suddenly heard an unusual noise coming from the study upstairs. The noise was so loud that I felt uneasy and went upstairs to check. Standing at the door of the study, I tentatively called out, "Honey, are you okay?" At this moment, there was an unusual noise in the room, and my heart suddenly jumped. I pushed open the door and saw Olivia fainted on the ground. My heart tightened, and I quickly ran over to pick her up. "Olivia!" I tried to call her twice, but she didn't respond. Without hesitation, I carried her downstairs and called the driver to drive her to the hospital. As soon as I reached the door, I ran into Leo, who came to deliver the documents. Seeing our nervous expressions, he immediately said, "I'll drive to find Professor Liu." I paused, and something in my mind moved. Leo's reaction was too eager, which made me suspicious. I was about to ask him something, but finally stopped. After arriving at the hospital, Olivia was directly pushed into the operating room. Leo and I waited outside, feeling anxious. At this time, Leo looked at me and said solemnly, "The boss is not in good condition." What you don't know is that the boss was kidnapped when he was a child and took a lot of fake medicine, which caused brain nerve damage, and he often suffered from headaches. He continued to explain, "In the past few years, the boss often did not go home because he was afraid that the headache would scare you and the children. Boss Bai actually loves you very much. He just tries to finish the work and take painkillers before coming back to be with you." I was stunned and I couldn't calm down for a long time. So, this was the reason why Olivia often didn't come home. I was silent, my throat seemed to be tightly grasped, and my heart was stabbing. Leo hurriedly comforted me, "But don't worry, Professor Liu is an expert in brain nerves. He has conducted a detailed examination of the boss's condition and determined a treatment plan. The risk of surgery is very low." A few hours later, Olivia was finally wheeled out of the operating room, still in a coma. I was relieved to hear that the operation went well. Olivia's parents also rushed to the hospital. Bai's mother gently said to me, "Fang Yuan, don't tell the child about this yet. If she asks, just say that Mom is on a business trip and will be back in a few days. I will stay in the hospital with her. You can pick up the child during the day and come back in the evening." I nodded and agreed silently. That night, I drove to the kindergarten to pick up my daughter. As soon as my daughter got home, she looked for her mother, but couldn't find her. So she asked me worriedly, "Dad, where is Mom?" I gently replied, "Mom has an important business trip for a few days, but she said she will come back to be with us as soon as she is done. Let's wait for her at home, okay?" Although my daughter is naughty sometimes, she is very sensible and nodded. "Okay, then we will wait for Mom at home." I rubbed my daughter's furry little head and praised softly, "Well, Gaia is so good." My daughter's smile was as bright as the sun, and a warm feeling surged in my heart. However, at night, I tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. My mind couldn't help but flash back to every little detail of my time with Olivia. Perhaps our marriage was not that simple from the beginning. I remember when we were standing at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. She asked me, "Have you made up your mind?" I asked her back, "What about you? Have you thought about it?" She smiled and said, "I've thought about it, but I'm afraid you'll regret it. After we get married, You won't be able to get divorced. I pretended not to care and responded, we haven't even gotten married yet. How do you know I will regret it? She added in a low voice, I don't know either. I just hope you can understand me. After all, I'm very busy with work. I joked, just don't treat your home like a hotel. You still have a home out there to call home. She smiled and replied, it's good to have one at home. I then said, Olivia, I like acting and want to enter the entertainment industry. She said calmly, okay, I support you. Then I continued, but my ex-girlfriend is also in the entertainment industry. Do you still want me to go? She hesitated for a moment, then smiled and said, I don't really think about it now. At this time, she rushed over and pressed me down, squinting at me, and said, Mr. Fong, you have such a good relationship with your ex-girlfriend. Do you still want to know your wife's reaction? I couldn't help but laugh and thought to myself, it must be her. There is always a mysterious power in Olivia's eyes that makes it impossible for me to escape. Olivia was in a coma for 2 whole days. During the whole process, my heart was almost hollowed out. The 2 days of accompanying her seemed like a long torture. It was not until she finally woke up and took a deep breath that I felt a little relieved. When did you wake up? I asked softly with a barely perceptible nervousness in my voice. She slowly opened her eyes and said in a low but gentle voice, just now. How did you feel? Do you have a headache? She shook her head and smiled. It doesn't hurt anymore. Then she pressed the bell and called Professor Liu and the nurse to give her a comprehensive examination. In the end, all the data showed that everything was normal. I breathed a sigh of relief, and the tension at that moment was completely released. A few days later, Olivia was finally discharged from the hospital and went home. I wanted her to have a good rest, but unexpectedly, she suddenly held my hand with an elusive tenderness in her eyes. Fong Yuan, actually I had a dream when I was unconscious, she said softly, with a hint of indescribable emotion in her tone. What dream? I couldn't help but wonder. She blinked her eyes and said with a naughty smile, I dreamed that you confessed to me and told me that you liked me and missed me very much. I was stunned. My heart beat faster involuntarily, and that straight gaze made me a little breathless. Really, my voice was a little hoarse, and my heart beat faster involuntarily. She nodded, her eyelashes drooping slightly. But in real life, you have never said such words to me. The idea that flashed through my mind suddenly became bold, and without any hesitation, I said, then do you want to hear it? Her eyes suddenly became deep, and she hooked her finger slightly. I walked closer, and she whispered in my ear, I want to listen. At this moment, my heart was about to jump out of my chest, and almost in an instant, the words came out of my mouth, Olivia, I like you. Then, Olivia reached out and held my chin and took the initiative to kiss me. At that moment, I felt a strong reaction I had never experienced before, and my heart was burning as if she and I were the only ones left in the world. I subconsciously grabbed the back of her head, took the initiative, and kissed her back. After coming out of the bathroom, we ran into my daughter who was coming back from school. She looked at me, then at Olivia, her big eyes full of confusion. Did you take a shower together? Olivia was not flustered and smiled and said, your father and mother don't want to talk to you about this topic now. My daughter was immediately distracted and said in a baby voice, yeah, I'm back. Today, the fat kid at school showed off to us, saying that his mother gave him a sister. I was so envious. Olivia smiled gently. Don't be envious, you'll have it too. The daughter's eyes lit up and she asked excitedly, Dad, can you give me a sister too? I was stunned for a moment. My heart moved slightly, and then I smiled and said, giving birth to a sister? Must it be a sister? Olivia still answered calmly, yes, but next time you enter Mom and Dad's room, remember to knock on the door. The daughter was so happy as if she had found something precious. Okay, I will definitely do it next time. In the evening, Jessica suddenly called me. Fong Yuan, you called me, what's the matter? I answered the phone with a little curiosity in my tone. Jessica chuckled and said, there's a role in Floating Mirror directed by Chunze that's quite suitable for you. Do you have time for it? What role? I asked. Male number 1. She paused, as if expecting my answer. Forget it. I just like playing villains. I refused directly. Jessica sighed helplessly. Why do you only want to play the villain? Don't you think this role is the most promising? There is an indispensable vicious villain in every drama. I smiled and responded, villainous male supporting roles are what I'm best at. They're very challenging, and every role can bring me new feelings. Jessica was silent for a while and suddenly asked, Fong Yuan, did you marry her because you like her or? I felt the air around me freeze in an instant. When I came to my senses, I found that Olivia was standing quietly beside me, with a hint of coldness in her eyes. I responded calmly. I like her. We got married first and then fell in love. Jessica didn't ask any more questions on the other end, but just said softly, Okay, I won't bother you anymore. After hanging up the phone, I turned to look at Olivia. Her expression was cold and seemed a little dissatisfied. Are you unhappy that I said that? I asked with a smile. She didn't answer, but just squeezed my waist gently. Are you trying to make me angry on purpose? I lowered my head in silence for a while, then smiled and said, Then what can I do to satisfy you? The next second, I hooked my arms around her neck and whispered in her ear, Olivia, I love you. She smiled softly and whispered, I love you too, but you are such an annoying ex. I smiled and hugged her tightly. You have to do something. The next day, I posted a photo on Weibo with the caption, My wife is so beautiful. We were very close in the photo, and even though we couldn't see their faces clearly, the comment section immediately exploded with comments. Post a photo of her face. Fong Yuan, my wife is so beautiful. I'm the only one who can see her. This Weibo post instantly ignited the social network, and my life began to become more dazzling because of this public declaration.